Enter the stars, and it's time to read between the headlines. I didn't want to start doing 2 shows a day, but the stuff we do with entertainment media is just as important as these headlines, or reading between the headlines. Now, the nerve of these people, they come right in and pretty much tell you that all of this sacrifice was for nothing. As the news unfolds in Afghanistan, all the work undone in literally within 24 hours as the BaliTan rolls into town and takes back Kabul, the capital city of Afghanistan. Now, I've always told you that my personal belief is that war is basically code for human sacrifice. Like, the whole thing behind it, the lies that are told to both sides. You have wealthy men basically sacrificing entire generations of men that are on our level for lies. And I believe that at the root of all this, that is exactly what is going on. It's the enemy. He is the one at the top of this, pitting sides against one another until there's no flesh left to challenge God in heaven and make men sin and kill their brothers. That's what this is really all about. There was also, we have to be careful what you say, a opium aspect to all this that was feeding and fueling American habits. And I'm sure a lot of this was being traded, and, they were dealing this in terms of the world market because there was a demand for opium, obviously, in many other countries. Now, I don't know those backdoor deals and what was done, but we were in control of all this. So look at it like the main dealer were the United States and our soldiers. Now, we did a documentary called The Opium Pipeline, and we tried to dig as deep as we could into where the opium goes. They tried to change hands several times, so you couldn't really figure out what the source was, but we tracked the roots of this stuff and where it came out of and how it changed hands through different countries en route to the rest of the world. So you can imagine the power that the United States has, being the ones in charge of security for all this. Well, apparently now we've begun to wash our hands of it, and a lot of people are upset, including soldiers themselves that put in blood, sweat, and tears. I think the official estimate is close to 3,000 American soldiers and tens of thousands of BaliTans. And on this next story, the mask debate continues. Now, YouTube's gotten very sensitive. You're not allowed to speak against anything that is mainstream medical establishment. If you do, you will be considered someone spreading misinfo. So we're going to talk about what they're saying and read between the headlines. Should kids wear masks in school? The states have banned mandates despite experts' pleas. So now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but there have been many stories, not a lot, but a few, of children that have fallen to this. And why are they showing us that now? Because they're trying to use mainstream news to counter what many parents want for their children, and that is to not have to wear a mask to school every day. And so they're, of course, going to show the worst case scenario. A lot of these headline articles don't even go into detail about any pre-existing conditions that these children may have had. Some may have already had asthma, allergies, you name it. Now, there is such a thing as called child mortality, and this happens even during a normal flu season, which we are told is different than the CV-19 season that we're in the midst of right now. But they have what's called infant and child mortality, and this is how they measure the severity of a typical flu season. So this does happen, and there are some stories that they're headlining about children that have fallen to this to counter this movement by parents to not have to have their children wear a mask. Now, some people are taking the tougher approach. Washington Post says, get the sticker or get fired. In Shenandoah Valley, some nurses choose termination And this is actually very widespread, much more so than they're reporting. There are many nurses, there are many service people who are about to be forced to get this, who would rather quit. Let's read this article, or part of it. August 14, 2021. They were hard to miss on the corner of a busy four-way intersection at the entrance to Winchester Medical Center. A group of 20 people, many of them nurses, some in scrubs, protesting the hospital's recent CVVC mandate. Some were on quasi-strike, skipping a day of work to stand on the side of the road. And, of course, they got a lot of pushback from the people driving by. I hope you all get fired, one driver yelled as he passed the unstickered protesters. We're going to, one responded. You'll need us next week. And she's absolutely right. I don't know how all this is going to shake out, but I can tell you what they will do is probably throw a lot of money at the nurses that stay behind and get the sticker. They're going to incentivize them to the hilt, and they will pick up a lot of the work from these women that have, or these nurses that have quit. But this is what's going on, and know that they show scenes like this to make it look like these people are in the minority, when in fact there is a healthy, very healthy minority of nurses that are looking at this and saying, we're not going to do this. Here's another article. Bidenized tougher sticker rules without provoking backlash. Now in this one, I believe they talk about possibly making this be required for travel. Let's read some of this. When the pace of the stickers in the U.S. first began to slow, Bo Jiven backed incentives like $1 million cash lotteries, if that's what it took to get shots in arms. In the past 2 weeks, he has forced millions of federal workers to attest to their sticker status or face onerous new requirements. Meanwhile, the administration has taken steps toward mandating the sticker for people traveling into the U.S. from overseas. And the White House is weighing options to be more assertive at the state and local level, including potential support for school districts imposing rules to prevent the spread of the virus over the objection of Republican leaders. So basically, he's going to subvert governors' wishes. Unbelievable. To the mayor, school superintendents, educators, local leaders who are standing up to the governors politicizing the mask protection for our kids, thank you. So he's thanking them for subverting their states. Bo Jiven is becoming more aggressive. They're saying he's refraining from using all his powers to pressure all Americans to get the sticker. He's held off on proposals to require stickers for all air travelers. Now, this is an opinion piece, so the person writing this story is saying that Bo Jiven has some room to do even more. And what they really want is for this to be required for travel. Now, what happens when you have a heavily stickered state? Is that stopping the cases from rolling in? Apparently not. California, very high percentage of Californians are stickered. And they've got cases. Biggest one-day jump, up nearly 4,000, 24 hours amid reporting lags. Now, my personal opinion is that a lot of people, actually, this is not my opinion, this is fact. A lot of people can test positive, but don't get gravely ill. These are facts. So keep that in mind when you see these jumps in cases and things. They want you to make it sound like it's the end of the world. And you get the pre-programmed scenes of overflowed hospitals and people running around frantic, sirens going off. But understand that most people get this and get over it. What do we have next? 27 stickered people test positive on a cruise ship. Now, we were told you get the sticker and that, you could catch this, but your symptoms would mean much less. And I don't know what data they base that off of, but apparently this is what they're telling us, right? 27 stickered people who were on Carnival tested positive. 26 of the positive cases are among the crew members. Wow, with only one passenger. How did that happen? So apparently 26 out of the 27 people that tested positive were the crew members. Bizarre. Ship departed from Texas and was headed to Belize when it was reported by authorities. So a little jab in Texas here. They wanted to make people believe it's all their fault because they don't have enough rules in place, right? Now, here's more fear. They're saying that if you don't get the sticker, your bosses could charge you $20 to $50 more for health insurance on every paycheck. So, Tyson Foods, United, CNN, wide variety of employers, they will have said they'll have a lot more companies soon after the F to the D to the A gives the stickers full approval. Some employers aren't ready to impose mandates, but may penalize workers for not getting the sticker. Notice how they say may. So these articles basically are threats against people who don't get the sticker. I feel defeated. Mask and sticker mandates cause new divide as officials try to head off the surge. So they're talking about the political debate going on right now about this. About, do you get the sticker or not? Can it be mandated or not? Many companies and government entities are moving forward to mandate it, but then there are court battles going on right now. And governors' recommendations are being either overridden or they're being supported by some of these judgments. So, this is what is going on now. We talked a lot about the destruction of small business. Well, part of this whole thing with, these unemployment benefits, I believe, was also another tool that's been used to decimate small businesses, as people in that employment sector simply don't go back to work. And this really harms small businesses the worst because they don't have a lot of employees to begin with. You wouldn't have as big of a problem with a company with a much larger overhead and much more income because they would simply adjust by downsizing. But a person running an operation with 10 employees who can't find workers to work will go under. So this is what's happening right now, and it's all being driven mostly by unemployment benefits that continue in many states, but also because people don't want to wear a mask all day, maybe, or maybe they're afraid to get CV-19. Who knows? They really haven't done any studies on why people aren't coming back to work. But this is what's going on as they try to hire people into these small businesses. And here is Mr. Slouchy, and now they're finally acknowledging that there is a large segment of Americans, in God we trust, we took it seriously, and want God to be our healer. It's not like this stuff is acid where you touch it and your hand falls off. There is a level of faith that you can have if you're a believer in the Most High. And for some reason, YouTube doesn't want us talking about people that have either already had it, that don't want a sticker, or how it seems likely that a lot of people must have already come in contact with this over the last 18 months, based on how contagious they say it was. Can't really talk about that here on YouTube anymore, because that raises all kinds of other questions. So, this is what's going on. And now they're going to, let's read this. After Denver announced this month that city employers and workers in hospitals and other high-risk settings must get the sticker, the Catholic bishops told parishioners how to seek religious exemption. That's despite the fact that the Catholic Church does not oppose the stickers. And in Louisiana, Attorney General Jeff Leonard created a form for those who object to the mandate, allowing them to assert that they do not consent to forcing a face covering on my child, who was created in the image of God. I believe that our body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, and I am called to honor God in how I care for my body, the form states. There's verses in the Bible that talk about even head coverings for people that approach the Most High or in a leadership position. And I would imagine that these masks are tantamount to some kind of covering or putting yourself in a submissive role to the government that is asking you to do it. And this is what a lot of people are upset about. Liberty Counsel, Florida-based group that defends religious freedom cases, says it's fielding thousands of requests for assistance to avoid stickers, including many from federal employees. It's huge, said the Liberty Counsel chairman. And they talk about my body is my temple. The Holy Spirit within me says no. As mandates for stickers and masks become more common with the widespread circulation of the highly transmissible blah, 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 also increasing our efforts to use religion to sidestep the requirements. Why do they call this sidestepping the requirements? Why does it have to be that? You see how they are framing this. Experts worry religious exemptions could undercut mandates, similar to how they've contributed to outbreaks, preventable childhood diseases, even though most major religions don't object to stickers. So, now in the past, when people have applied for religious exemption, oftentimes the people that are giving out those exemptions are asking for proof that you belong to that religion. They're asking for your attendance or your membership at a particular church. And that's how they're going to get people. They're saying few religions even oppose stickers within their doctrine. You shouldn't have to prove that you're a part of a religion. This should be about your personal spirituality, not a building, not a membership. And this is why we should have never agreed to church being the definition of going to a building or being on some kind of membership. But this is what they've done to Christianity in America. They're saying, oh, people can abuse this. How is it abuse? This is a religious exemption is a personal matter. It's a private matter. So what is their definition of abuse? So someone could give their life to Jesus Christ right now. Never walked into church one day in their life. And if they wanted exemption, they should be able to have that. So this is what's going on, you guys. Things are heating up. I don't know how much longer we're going to be able to exist here in this form. We have to pray for Jesus' kingdom to come. God's will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. I've been praying the Lord's Prayer quite a bit over the last year based on everything that's been going on. We will get through this, and God promises us that he will never give us too much to bear. I love each and every one of you, and I will see you in the morning. Take care and be safe, you guys.